3, 2.
Oh. Hello.
Oh.
Oh. Hey, how's it going? I didn't see you there. My name's Ben. I am coming at you live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube all at the same time. Just testing out this nifty new software before the Burrard Inlet Science Symposium, the Yes Agenda Summit, which is next Tuesday. We are going to play an interview that we actually shot a little while ago, a few months ago, I think, on the roof of a building in Burnaby with one of the speakers from the Yes Agenda Summit. His name's Mark Tizya. He is the CEO and founder of a company called Novo Solar, a local solar power installer company based in Burnaby. He's going to be one of the speakers at the Yes Agenda Summit, along with our keynote, David Suzuki. Also on that panel will be Laura Jones from BC Sustainable Energy Association, and Sephora Berman, adjunct professor and climate and energy advisor. So a really interesting group of people talking about renewable energy in British Columbia. That comes after the day session, which is the Burrard Inlet Science Symposium, where there'll be a detailed conversation about the recovery and the enhancement of Burrard Inlet ecosystems. This is work that Tsleil-Waututh Nation's been involved in for many, many years, of course, really since time immemorial, but in recent years, taking this approach, working with local, municipal, federal, provincial governments to really try to enhance Burrard Inlet ecosystems. So without any further ado, I want to share with you a little sneak peek of one of our speakers from the evening session. If you haven't got your tickets yet, they are going quickly. There's an Eventbrite page. We'll post the link down here. You can get yourself a ticket. You really should get one soon if you want to come and see it in person, or you can watch the entire day's session live streaming on Tuesday, October 24th. But I do think you want to come and see this in person. Come and hang out. Tuesday evening, the 24th, 7 p.m. You got to get a ticket on Eventbrite. You should do that by clicking the button down here. Okay, cool. This is Mark. Thanks for joining us on the live stream.
We're just in the process of installing a 10.4 kilowatt system on the roof of our building so that we can power not only our business but also our 2 electric cars that we have. This roof here, the owner of the building didn't want us to penetrate the membrane.
Right.
So what we've done is we've used a system that's designed specifically for this. So it sits on the roof, and then we put weights on it, and that holds it down, keeps the panels from keeps them stationary in the event of a strong wind and that sort of thing. This will generate about 11,000 kilowatt hours a year, which is about $100, maybe $130 a month in electricity. Depends on what your rate is, because there's step 1 and step 2. So
right.
When we first moved into the building, we renovated it and we changed a few things, and we changed all the lighting to LED. We changed the heating system so it was more efficient. We dropped our actual power bill well, it's less than 50% of what it was originally.
Right.
So once we did that, we were able to design a system that would actually provide us the amount of power that we're using, as opposed to just kind of half of what we're using if we would have left it the old way.
Gotcha.
So for us, the important thing is to cut the power consumption and then apply solar to take care of the remainder of the power you're using, if that's possible. It depends on your size of your roof and that sort of thing. Our electrician's just working away and getting it connected. What we're doing now, because of the power consumption that we reduced, and also the fact that we've got electric cars now, and we're powering them with power from the sun, which is basically doesn't cost us anything. It's not from BC Hydro.
Right.
We're saving somewhere around $580 a month in fuel costs and electrical costs.
Wow.
And so we financed it just for better cash flow purposes. And so because of that, our loan payments are just over $600 a month. So within 5 years, that'll be paid out. Within 5 years, this will have paid for itself.
Can you tell me what it's like being a solar entrepreneur in the province of BC these days?
Well, that's a good question. It's a little challenging at the moment because the cost of electricity is still quite inexpensive in BC, even though most people don't think that. But we have some of the most inexpensive electricity in the world, and so solar is actually now less expensive than electricity, but only by a marginal amount. But still, it is actually cheaper now over the long run. So what I always tell people is if you buy a solar electric system, it's like buying your house as opposed to renting it. So instead of renting your electricity from BC Hydro, you're buying it and putting it on your own home. A lot of people think that we don't have enough sun in BC, so they don't think of solar. The other thing is in California, for instance, they have several different levels of pricing for electricity. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that during the peak periods, it's about close to 30 cents a kilowatt hour. And our highest rate here is just 13. So at 30 cents a kilowatt hour, solar is a much better option. And also, for that matter, battery power. You can charge your batteries in the off-peak times when it's about 12 or 13 cents, and then use the battery power when it's peak times at 30 cents. So there's all sorts of things you can do in California, Arizona, things like that, where the prices are a lot higher. There's a lot of things that can be done. The governments, a lot of the municipal governments are looking to try and create ways of promoting renewable energy, and of course solar and in some cases wind. But there's no incentives whatsoever other than the net metering program by BC Hydro. If the government was to put out some sort of an incentive, like the electric cars, for instance, I wasn't going to buy one until this year sometime, but I decided to buy one in case the $5,000 incentive went away. So because of that, I bought an electric car. If there was some sort of an incentive like that for solar, more people would adopt it, and it would be more widely used. If they took the money they were going to spend on BC Hydro's Site C dam and applied it to incentives for local residents, we could actually put solar on, I believe it was 662,500 roofs over the next 10 years and generate the same amount of power as Site C. And then the province and BC Hydro wouldn't have to worry about maintenance and the construction and all that kind of stuff, and they could save the same amount of money, but do it over 10 years' time instead of in a short period of time. For businesses in BC, the CRA and the federal government have allow you to do an accelerated capital cost program. So if you buy a solar energy system for $30,000, you can write off $15,000 of that the first year, and then half again every year after that. It takes about 6 years, so it works out for business to be a great tax shelter. Right now, I think you can get $11,000 in incentives for purchasing an electric car. And you need a car anyway, so why not switch over? I've been driving mine for several months now, and they're amazing. It feels weird to me when I drive a gas engine vehicle. And then, like I say, if you put solar on your roof, you can power your car, your business, and I don't know why a business person wouldn't do it. So, and I guess that's our fault for not marketing that enough. This is something that makes financial sense and you can feel really good about. We've recently done some alterations to our building so that we could cut our power consumption, and once we did that, we decided that we wanted to put some solar on there to eliminate the rest of the cost of our electricity. So basically we've done the math and we figure that we can actually eliminate our power bill altogether now that we've cut our consumption. What that means is it produces 10.4 kilowatts every hour, so that's 10,400 watts of electricity every hour that the sun is shining on it. And so at the end of the day, if you had a 6-hour day, you'd have over 60,000 watts of power that would have been produced. And on a day like that, we would have probably used only about 30,000 in our offices and to charge our cars. So we would feed back approximately 30,000 to BC Hydro and get paid for that at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. And so what they do is they credit our account, and then if we need power at night or on a cloudy day and we have to draw it back from them, they take it off of the credit that they owe us. This system here would be about $29,000, including installation and electrical wiring, which we're doing right now. And normally that would take about 15 years on a residential home, but because we're a business and we charge our cars here, we don't pay for fuel anymore for our cars. We charge them with solar. We'll be charging them with solar power. And also we've cut our electrical bill down by a couple of $100 a month. So that's going to save us $580 a month, we figure. We finance this over a 5-year period, and the payments work out to $600 a month. So right away we're kind of almost breaking even because we're not paying any more money per month. So our cash flow isn't changing. And in 5 years' time, the system will be completely paid off. So using that math with the cost of fuel, the reduction in the power that we're using, the payback time is 5 years on this system. And then one thing that we didn't figure into that is that we can write this down at 50% per year. The CRA has allowed an accelerated capital cost allowance for renewable energy systems. So that means that on this system, we can write off $14,500 at the end of this year, this tax year. So it's a great tax shelter, and it's it's an asset for our company now. So if you factor that in, I mean, it's reducing the payback time to 2 or 3 years.
Why are more businesses not doing that?
I'm going to take ownership of that and say that we're not marketing this enough. So that's why we're doing this, to show them that, you know, this makes absolute sense, and look, we're doing it. So we're going to market this to more businesses in the Lower Mainland and in the rest of BC, and hopefully they will, because you know, if you combine this with an electric vehicle, you get an $11,000 grant from the BC government to purchase an electric vehicle, and then you can run it completely on solar power along with your offices, and it dramatically reduces the payback time. So I don't know why more businesses wouldn't do it, other than they don't know about it. Solar energy is, we compare it to a home. So if you were to buy a home, it'd take you 25 years to pay off. Solar energy takes you 15 years to pay off. On the other hand, you could rent your home and you'll never pay it off. And if you're buying electricity from BC Hydro, you're renting your electricity, so you're never going to pay that off. And the other thing is that once you've paid it off, after anywhere from 2 to 15 years, you're getting free electricity. You're generating free electricity that BC Hydro will still buy from you. So it becomes a stream of income. Last summer we had a lot of sun hours. One of the biggest misconceptions about solar power is that we don't have enough sun hours. And according to Natural Resources Canada, our sun hours have been increasing just about every year for the past several years. And so we produce about 1,100 kilowatt hours of electricity per kilowatt of solar in this area. And although, you know, California and places like that are higher, probably in the 1,400 kilowatt hour range per kilowatt, we're still doing extremely well here, and we have customers who actually get paid by BC Hydro annually. I guess one of the biggest challenges is funding it. So like your home, most people don't have the cash to buy a $2 million house. So a lot of people don't have cash to spend on a $30,000 or $40,000 solar energy system, or even a $15,000 one for that matter. So there are options available. We have a financing plan. Van City has an excellent financing plan for renewable energy. You can use your line of credit. You can roll it into your mortgage, which is the least expensive way. If you do that, by the way, the increase in your monthly mortgage payments is less than the amount you're going to save from BC Hydro. So if your mortgage payment goes up $120, you'll be saving about $140 a month in BC Hydro payments. So immediately your cash flow, your monthly budget in your household has gotten better. So as far as payback times, if you look at it that way, it's immediate. Every year at the beginning of April, BC Hydro's rates go up, and it varies, but like I said, it averages out to about 5% increase per year. Now if you think about that, that means that it's compounded interest on your electrical bill. So in another 10 years time, our prices, if it continues in that way, our our BC Hydro rates are going to be outrageous. The other thing to consider is that we're one of the only areas in the world right now that don't do time of use billing. So I mentioned California earlier. In the morning during the busy times, they have it's a peak period, so their rates are highest at that point. Through the middle of the day, when not too many people are home and there's not a lot going on, their rates are lower. And then when dinner time hits, it's another peak period and the rates rise up again. In the evening, when everyone's sleeping, it's at its lowest rate. So I don't know if that's going to happen in BC, because I'm not in charge of all of that, of course, but I don't know why it wouldn't. They've just installed smart meters on everything so that they can do that sort of thing. So at some point in the future, we may have time of use or peak time billing. The savings that you realize from the solar energy system go straight into your pocket instead of to BC Hydro. So definitely, the higher the rates get, the more savings and the faster the system pays for itself.
I'm thinking about the places where solar is like just exploding, you know, like in California or Germany. You know, like what is it that's different there that, you know, isn't the case here?
Well, in every case, especially the ones you just mentioned, the cost of electricity is probably more than double what we pay here. So the payback time is, you know, 5 years or less on just even the most average home. Plus, they all have incentives. So we don't have incentives here, and our electrical rates are fairly low. However, even here, solar is less costly than our BC Hydro rates are. So especially if you have electric heat and hot water, like on some places on the island and in the interior where they don't have natural gas, those people sometimes are paying anywhere from $300 to $600 a month. And I'm talking per month, not every 2 months, to heat their homes and have hot water. So there's a lot of incentive in those cases, but not everybody understands that solar is actually less costly than BC Hydro at this point.